Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the chapter on capacity to contract. Capacity to contract means who are competent to contract. Because section 10, as we have seen earlier also, says all agreements are contract if they are made with free consent of parties competent to contract. So one of the essential requirements for the formation of a contract is that the parties must be competent to contract. All other requirements are there under section 10, but one of the essential conditions for the formation of contract is that the parties must be competent to contract. So who are competent to contract? Who can enter into a contract? Who cannot enter into a contract? This has been laid down under section 11 of the Indian Contract. Section 11 clearly says, the marginal note of section 11 says, who are competent to contract. It says every person is competent to contract. Firstly, it says every person is competent to contract, but these three persons cannot enter into contract. One, who is disqualified, who is a minor, who is of unsound mind, and who is disqualified from contracting. So three categories of persons have been given who are incompetent to contract. One is minor, a person who is not measured according to the law to which subject. He is governed by whichever law. In India we have Indian Majority Act, which lays down the age of majority, that is 18 years. So a minor who is under the age of 18 years cannot enter into a contract. A person of unsound mind, who is of unsound mind, that we'll see later on. And a person who is disqualified from entering into a contract, like enemy, alien, or whoever has been disqualified from entering into a contract. So these three category of persons are disqualified from entering into contract. Now, first category of person who is incompetent to enter into contract is minor. Minor means a person who is of the age of who is below the age of 18 years. Now the question here arises, if the person misrepresents his age, if a person looks like of 18 or 18 plus, he represents himself to be a major of 18 plus, but actually he is below 18, he is minor. So what will happen if he enters into a contract with a person? Because nowadays minor are entering into various kinds of contract. And if he misrepresents his age, if he says I am 18 plus, I am a major, I am an adult, whereas actually he is a minor, and he misrepresents his age and enters into a contract, what will happen to such kind of contract? Whether this contract is void, with no effect at all, or voidable, that can be voided at the option of one of the parties, or any other thing. What will be the solution? What will be the nature of this kind of contract? So since there section 10 or section 11 both does not lay down, both the section does not make it clear that if a minor enter into a contract, into an agreement, what will be its nature? It will be void or voidable. Because section 10 only says parties must be competent to contract. Section 11 says minor is not competent to enter into a contract. So what will be the nature of minor's agreement? So there was a lot of controversy. Finally the issue was settled by the Privy Council in the year 1903 in the famous case of Mohri Biwi versus Dharmodas Ghosh. So this is the judgment of Privy Council of 1903 by the name of Mohri Biwi versus Dharmodas Ghosh. In this case, the Privy Council finally settled that the agreement entered into minor was a void ab initio. Court said this agreement is not only void, but it is void ab initio. Ab initio means from the very beginning, ab initial. from initial itself. Initio word has been taken from initial. So this agreement is void ab initio with no effect. So this was the first law. This was the law which was settled by the Privy Council, that the miners agreement is void ab initio. The logic behind it, we will discuss this case in very detail just after a few minutes. The logic behind the miners agreement to be declared as void ab initio is the simple reason that the miner, since a miner is a person of immature understanding, he has not attained sufficient maturity of understanding, so he may enter into a contract which may be harmful to his own interest. The opposite party may be taking the benefit of his immaturity, his incapability of understanding. So, to protect the interest of the miner, it has been laid down that the agreement entered into by the miner will be void. So for this reason, certain exceptions have also been created. If the agreement is for the benefit of the miner, if the agreement is miner is getting certain benefits under the agreement, if it is beneficial to the miner, then it should not be declared void, because the purpose of declaring miners agreement void is that to protect the interest of the miner, but so that any loss is not caused to the miner. But if benefit is accruing to a miner under the contract, and if this agreement is declared to be void, then rather than protecting the interest of the miner, we are causing harm to the miner by this doctrine. So therefore we will see further that certain exceptions have been created, that the contracts which are beneficial to the miner are not void. So in the case of Mori B versus Dharmo Das Ghosh 1903, the miners agreement was declared to be void ab initio. So